Ethan drifted through darkness that felt endless. There was no sound, no memory, only a heavy pressure on his chest as if the universe itself sat on him. Then a sharp breath ripped through his lungs, and he shot upright with a gasp. His eyes burned from a bright blue light above him. He blinked again and again, trying to understand where he was. The air smelled metallic and strange. The room hummed with an unfamiliar rhythm. It was not Earth. It was not any ship he remembered. And then he saw them too. Figures stood on either side of him. Tall, elegant, not human. Their skin glowed softly like polished silver. Their eyes were large and bright. One woman stood with her arms crossed, watching him with calm focus. The other leaned forward with excitement, as if she had been waiting for him to wake for years. Ethan froze. His heart hammered inside his chest. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. The calm sister spoke first. Her voice was smooth and controlled. "You are awake at last, human." The second sister smiled with sharp energy. "Welcome back to the living. It would have been disappointing if you stayed dead after all our effort." Ethan stared at them in shock. His mind raced, trying to remember what happened before this moment, but everything was fog. He forced himself to speak. "Where am I? Who are you? What happened to me?" The calm sister stepped forward. "I am Lyra. This is my sister Vesa. You are aboard our vessel," the Starwing Vesa added quickly. "And before you ask, yes, we saved you. You were floating unconscious in debris near the outer rings. Your suit was cracked. Your heart was seconds from stopping. Without us, you would be scrap drifting forever." Ethan tried to stand, but his legs shook. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder, pushing him gently back onto the medical bed. "Do not strain yourself. Your body is recovering from vacuum damage and shock." "My body," Ethan whispered. "How long was I out?" Vesa's smile faded into something more serious. 3 cycles. Long enough for some to call you dead. But we brought you back. Which means something important. Human Ethan frowned. What? What does that mean?" Lyra looked at him with an expression he could not read. "In our culture, saving a life creates a life debt. You owe us. And life debts are never ignored in the galaxy." Ethan blinked in disbelief. "A life debt. I did not ask you to save me." Vesa laughed lightly. "No one asks for saving. But it still happens. And now you belong to us until your debt is complete." Ethan felt a shiver down his spine. The way she said belong made his chest tighten. He tried to push himself up again. "I am not property. I am human. I do not follow your rules." Lyra did not raise her voice, but her tone carried weight. "You are not on Earth, human. Out here, our laws shape survival. You live because of us, so you will listen." For now, before Ethan could argue, the entire ship trembled. A deep vibration passed through the floor. The lights flickered. Vesa's smile disappeared instantly, replaced by a warrior's intensity. Lyra turned toward the control panel on the wall. "Not now. We are not ready for another encounter." Ethan grabbed the edge of the bed, confused and alarmed. What is happening? What was that? Vesa rushed to the door, preparing to leave. "It means someone has found us. And whoever it is, they will not be friendly." Lyra pressed several controls. A holographic display flickered to life, showing multiple red markers surrounding their ship. Her jaw tightened. "The hunters are closing in. They tracked our jump signature faster than expected." Ethan felt his pulse rise. Hunters. Hunters of what? Vesa glanced back at him, her eyes blazing. Hunters of anything with a pulse. But right now, they want us. And maybe you as well. Ethan stood shakily, even though his body protested. "Why would they want me? I do not even know who they are." Lyra turned to him with a rare expression of concern. "There is something you must know, human. Something we discovered when we saved you." Something the hunters might already be aware of. Ethan swallowed hard. What did you find? Before she could answer, the ship shook again, stronger this time. Alarms echoed through the corridors. Vesa shouted over the rising noise. They are boarding. We have no time. Move. Ethan felt fear rise in his chest, but something else too. A spark of instinct. A strange sense that his story was only beginning. The hunters had come for him, and he did not even know why. The alarms continued to echo across the starwing as Ethan struggled to keep his balance. The walls vibrated with growing force and loose tools rattled across the floor. He felt like he had awakened into a nightmare that refused to slow down. Only minutes ago he had learned he owed a life debt to 2 alien sisters. Now their ship was under attack by enemies he had never heard of. Vesa stormed into the hallway with wild determination in her eyes. They are cutting through the outer hall. We need to move before they breach the chamber. Ethan tried to keep up. His legs still felt weak, but adrenaline pushed him forward. Who are these hunters? Why are they following you? Lyra stayed right behind them, her voice steady but tense. They pursue everything rare, everything valuable. They trade in blood and fear. And they do not forgive. Vesa looked over her shoulder. They have been after us for cycles because of something we stole from them. Something they plan to use for war. Ethan almost tripped as the hallway lights flickered again. You stole something? And now they think I am part of it. Vesa did not answer directly. She simply said, they will want you alive. That is worse than dead. They reached a junction where the ship split into 2 long corridors. One path led toward the engine room, the other toward the bridge. Lyra stopped and turned to Ethan. Human, your life debt has not even begun and already danger surrounds you. But now we need your help. The hunters are disabling our systems. If the ship shuts down, they will board faster than we can defend. Ethan felt frustration rise inside him. I am an engineer, not a soldier. Vesa gave a small grin. Good. Then fix something. Anything that keeps us alive. Before he could respond, the ship shook with a violent impact. A deep metallic roar filled the corridor. Ethan covered his ears as a thunderous explosion erupted on the lower deck. The lights flashed red. They breached the cargo bay. Lyra said. Vesa pulled a compact energy blade from her hip. I will hold them off. Get to the bridge. Ethan goes with you. Ethan blinked. Why me? I can barely stand. You can move and you can think, Vesa replied. Right now that is enough. Without waiting, she sprinted toward the fire spreading down the lower corridor. Her blade glowed bright with deadly heat. Ethan watched her disappear into the smoke and sparks. Lyra placed a hand on his arm. Come. If the hunters capture our ship, we lose everything. And you lose your chance to understand why they want you. They reached the bridge just as another impact rocked the hull. The main screen flickered with static, but Ethan could still see the shapes of multiple hunter ships surrounding them. Their designs were sharp and black, like living blades drifting through space. They moved in perfect formation with the cold confidence of predators. Ethan stepped closer to the controls. What do they want so badly? What is it that you took? Lyra hesitated. Her eyes met his. We did not take anything. We rescued something. You, Ethan felt the words hit him harder than the shaking of the ship. Me? Why me? I am nobody special. That is not true, Lyra replied. When we found you, your suit was broken. Your chest was glowing with energy we have never seen. The hunters track signatures like that. They knew something powerful drifted in the wreckage. They thought it belonged to them. Ethan looked down at himself, stunned and confused. I do not have anything. I was in cryosleep. I do not remember anything strange. You carry it without knowing, Lyra said. Before he could ask more, the bridge door burst open. Sparks flew as a hunter-soldier forced his way inside. He was tall and armored in black plates that shimmered like liquid metal. 4 glowing eyes stared at Ethan. With inhuman hunger, Lyra reacted instantly, firing a pulse shot that struck the soldier and staggered him back. Ethan dove behind the navigation console as the hunter roared and charged again. Lyra shot twice more until the creature fell, but more footsteps echoed from the hallway. "They're coming in numbers," Ethan said. "We cannot hold them," Lyra nodded. "We do not need to hold them. We need to escape them. The engines are still alive." "Barely. Help me route power to the jump drive." Ethan crawled to the main control panel. Even though he was shaking, he forced himself to focus. Wires sparked under his hands. Systems flickered like dying candles. But he understood machines. He had always understood them. "Rerouting power now," he said. The ship began to hum with a new rising tone. The floor vibrated like a heartbeat gaining strength. Hunter voices echoed closer. Lyra stood between Ethan and the door, ready to defend him. "Hurry, human. We must jump before they reach us." Ethan hit the final switch. The star wings surged with light, and the universe outside twisted into a vortex as the ship vanished into hyperspace. One thought echoed in Ethan's mind. The hunters were not chasing the sisters. They were chasing him. The star stretched into long rivers of light as the Starwing completed its emergency jump. The violent shaking stopped and silence returned to the ship. Not a peaceful silence, but a tense one filled with questions Ethan was not sure he wanted answered. He sat on the floor of the bridge, breathing hard, while the last sparks faded from the damaged panels. Lyra lowered her weapon and slowly relaxed her stance. "We escaped for now. The hunters cannot track a blind jump this quickly. We have a small window to recover." Ethan pulled himself up, using the edge of the console. That jump nearly ripped the ship apart. "Where did we end up?" Lyra tapped a few controls. A small star map flickered to life, showing a region filled with empty space and drifting dust. "Nowhere important. That is why I chose it. Nobody travels here. Nobody searches here." Ethan leaned on the console, fighting a dull pain in his ribs. "Then, tell me the truth. You said the hunters were after me. You said they tracked something inside me." "What did you mean by that?" Lyra did not answer right away. She walked to another console and brought up Ethan's medical scan from earlier. His eyes widened when he saw the image. Right in the center of his chest, a bright circular symbol glowed, faintly like a sun hidden under skin. "That is not normal," Ethan whispered. "That was not there when I entered cryosleep." Lyra faced him with calm seriousness. "We found you drifting in wreckage. The ship you came from was gone. No survivors. Only you. And this object fused into your chest." Ethan ran a hand over the spot, but felt only skin and bone. "I never agreed to carry something like that." "What even is it?" Lyra looked at the glowing scan again. "It is ancient technology, far older than any known civilization. Some call it the Starlock. A key that connects to forgotten systems across the galaxy." Ethan felt the room tilt slightly as he tried to process her words. "A key? Why would I have a key inside me? I was just an engineer on a transport team. Nothing special. That is what makes this strange," Lyra said. "The Starlock does not choose randomly. It bonds to a life form that holds potential. Something about you awakened it." Ethan shook his head. "I do not remember anything. I do not feel any power. I feel confused and terrified." "That is normal," Lyra replied. "Many legends speak of the Starlock choosing someone who has not yet discovered who they really are. Someone shaped by crisis." Ethan looked at the star map, unsure if he wanted to hear more. "Why do the hunters want it?" Lyra lowered her voice. "The hunters serve old masters. A hidden empire that seeks control of ancient weapons. The Starlock can activate devices capable of wiping out entire systems. If they capture you, they gain that power. Ethan stared at her with disbelief. You make it sound like I am some kind of chosen weapon. I am not. I fix machines. I build things. I am not meant to fight wars or run from aliens with blades. Lyra stepped closer. I do not ask you to fight. I ask you to understand. The moment we found you, we became part of this. We saved you because we saw the Starlock glow. And because we could not let the hunters take you, Ethan felt a heavy pressure in his chest. So you did not save me out of kindness? Lyra shook her head. We saved you because the galaxy is already broken. The Starlock in the wrong hands will shatter what remains. Ethan turned away. His thoughts raced like wild storms. He remembered flashes of the cryosleep launch, a mission to transport scientific samples. Nothing strange, nothing dangerous. Yet something must have happened after he slept, something he could not recall. The ship suddenly gave a soft warning beep. Lyra checked the screen. The Starlock is reacting again. Ethan looked down at his chest as a faint warmth spread through his ribs. The light under his skin pulsed softly like a hidden heartbeat. I feel it this time. Why now? Lyra studied the readout. It responds to threats and emotions. Your fear, your confusion, your anger. All of it wakes the device. Ethan forced a slow breath. Can we remove it? No, Lyra said. It has merged with your living structure. Removing it would end your life. Ethan felt the world press down on him. So, I am trapped with it. I am trapped in a war I never asked for. Lyra met his eyes. You are not trapped. You are chosen. And the galaxy has not seen a human bearer of the Starlock in more ages than we can count. There is meaning in this. Even if you cannot see it yet. Before Ethan could answer, the ship lights flickered again. A new warning flashed across the screen. A nearby signal had activated. Not a hunter signal. Something older. Something calling to the Starlock inside him. Lyra looked at him with growing concern. The device is guiding us. And whatever is calling you, it is ancient. Ethan felt the warmth intensify. For the first time, he wondered if the Starlock was not just fused into him, but waking up inside him. The Starwing drifted toward the region that the Starlock was guiding them to. Outside the window, the darkness of space slowly shifted into thick clouds of glowing dust. A nebula rose ahead like a giant luminous storm spreading across the stars. Its colors swirled with electric blues and burning reds, and silent. Flashes moved inside the clouds like distant lightning. Ethan stood at the front of the bridge, feeling both fear and wonder. That place looks alive. Are we really going in there? Lyra studied the readouts with narrowed eyes. The nebula of shattered echoes is unpredictable. Storms inside it twist energy. Some ships enter and never return. But the Starlock is pulling us straight toward it. Ethan pressed a hand against his chest, where the faint glow pulsed again. Do we even know what is calling it? Or who know? Lyra said. But if the Starlock reacts this strongly, then something ancient sleeps inside the nebula. Something connected to you. Before Ethan could respond, the ship shook with a sudden jolt. Red lights flashed across the bridge. That was not the nebula, Ethan said. Lyra tapped the console quickly. No, the hunters found our trail faster than expected. Two ships closing at high speed. Ethan felt a cold weight drop in his stomach. They followed us again. How do they keep finding us? The Starlock leaks energy when it awakens, Lyra replied. The hunters sniff out energy like that. They will chase us until one side dies. Another impact struck the Starwing. Ethan grabbed the railing as the bridge shuddered. We cannot fight them. We barely survived last time. Lyra's eyes hardened with resolve. Then we do the only thing left. We enter the nebula. The storms may hide us long enough to escape. Ethan looked toward the shifting clouds ahead. "That place does not look safer than the hunter's safety is not an option," Lyra said. Survival as she pushed the ship forward, and the Starwing crossed into the glowing mist. The view outside changed instantly. Colors wrapped around the hull like living fire. Lightning streaked past the windows, leaving trails of energy that danced for long seconds before fading. The ship's sensors flickered in confusion. Unable to read anything correctly, Ethan held onto the console as the ship lurched again. "It feels like the nebula is pushing us," it is Lyra answered. "Energy storms are forming. They will grow stronger the deeper we go behind them," the hunters followed. Dark ships cut through the nebula like sharks chasing wounded prey. Their hulls glowed with distorted light and their weapons charged. Lyra's voice sharpened. "They are firing." Brace of blast ripped past the Starwing, barely missing the engines. The shockwave rolled through the ship and alarms flared again. "We cannot outrun them," Ethan said. "But maybe we can use the storms." Lyra looked at him with sudden interest. "What do you mean?" Ethan pointed to the swirling lightning ahead. "That energy is unstable. If we can drag the hunters into a denser storm, the lightning might overload their systems. It is risky." "But everything out here is risky," Lyra nodded once. "Show me the path." Ethan moved to the navigation controls. The screen flickered wildly, but he could still trace the storm waves. He highlighted an area where the lightning was thickest. "There, if we fly through that cluster and drop fuel from the exhaust, the energy will spike behind us. The hunters will rush in expecting a kill shot. They will not expect the storm to explode." Lyra adjusted the ship's angle. "Hold steady. We only get one chance." The Starwing plunged deeper into the nebula. Lightning twisted around the hull like glowing serpents. The ship groaned from pressure, but Ethan kept his focus on the storm cluster. The glow inside his chest strengthened like the Starlock itself approved the plan. "Now," Ethan shouted. Lyra released the fuel trail and burst forward. The hunters closed in with arrogant speed. Their weapons glowed with deadly heat. A blinding flash erupted behind the Starwing. The storm reacted to the fuel in a violent chain of energy. Lightning surged outward in a cascading blast that slammed into the hunter ships. One vessel twisted out of control and vanished into a rolling cloud of fire. The second ship spun as its engines failed. Ethan exhaled in disbelief. It worked. "We actually did it." Lyra allowed herself a small, rare smile. "Your mind is fast, human. Faster than you believe." The nebula around them calmed for a moment, but the Starlock pulsed again with stronger energy. The glow filled the bridge with a faint golden light. Ethan frowned. "It is calling again, stronger than before." "Whatever is inside this nebula is close." Lyra checked the readings. "A large structure is ahead, hidden inside the storms. The Starlock wants you there." Ethan stared at the swirling colors outside the window. "Then something ancient is waiting for us. And it knows I'm coming." The ship drifted toward a faint shadow forming inside the glowing clouds. A massive shape slept in the heart of the nebula, and the Starlock inside. Ethan beat like a second heart, guiding him straight toward it. Asterisk. The deeper the Starwing drifted into the nebula, the more the glowing clouds parted around it. It was as if something inside the storm recognized the Starlock and allowed the ship to pass. Ethan stood beside Lyra on the bridge, staring at the shifting mist outside. Shapes moved in the distance, soft glimmers. Faint lines, something massive waited ahead. Lyra slowed the ship as a dark outline came into view. "There, do you see it?" "That is no natural formation." Ethan leaned forward, trying to understand what he was seeing. A giant circular structure floated inside the nebula like a sleeping titan. Its outer rings were cracked and hollow. Some pieces drifted apart slowly, as if gravity itself was weaker around it. Strange glowing patterns covered the surface. They pulsed with the same faint rhythm as the starlock in Ethan's chest. "That thing is older than anything I've ever seen," Ethan whispered. "What is it, Lyra?" Studied the scans, but even the ship could barely read the structure. An abandoned station, ancient beyond record. Older than the hunters. Older than our species. It should not still exist. Yet the starlock is pulling us closer. The Starwing docked against a massive open hangar. No lights greeted them. No guards. No signs of movement. Just cold stillness and drifting dust that shimmered with nebula particles. Ethan felt his heart thump with nervous energy. If this place is calling the starlock, then whatever built it might have known humans. Or something like humans. Lyra grabbed her weapon. Stay close. Ancient does not always mean peaceful. They entered the hangar. Their footsteps echoed across the metal floor. The station air was thin but breathable. Ethan felt chills run down his arms as they walked past giant pillars covered in glowing lines. The symbols looked almost alive. Soft light traveled through them like veins carrying memories. Ethan reached out and touched one of the pillars. His fingers tingled. "These markings, they react to me." "I can feel it," Lyra nodded. "The starlock is the key. It is unlocking this place through your presence." A deep hum vibrated through the floor. Lights flickered awake, one by one, forming a path deeper into the station. The air warmed slightly, as if the structure recognized them. Ethan followed the lights until they reached a large circular door. The metal was smooth and untouched by time. A symbol identical to the starlock's glowing shape rested at the center. Lyra turned to him. "Place your hand on the symbol." "The door will not respond to me." Ethan hesitated. He felt the starlock pulse harder, as if urging him forward. "What if it is dangerous?" "The danger has already chosen you," Lyra said softly. "Now you choose how to face it." Ethan pressed his hand against the door. A bright flash filled the chamber. The symbol lit up beneath his palm as the door rotated open with a deep, low sound that shook the air. Inside was a vast chamber filled with floating platforms and ancient machines positioned in perfect circles. Long cables drifted like vines. The air hummed with silent power. At the center of the room, a tall crystalline pillar stood glowing faintly. The light inside it moved slowly, like a trapped star trying to breathe. Ethan stepped forward, drawn by instinct. "This place feels alive. Like it has been waiting." Lyra followed carefully, keeping watch. "Be alert. Nothing ancient stays silent forever." Ethan approached the central pillar. The starlock glowed brighter and brighter until his entire chest was warm with energy. Suddenly, symbols across the chamber lit up. Machines awakened. Holograms formed in midair, showing maps of stars. Paths, gates, weapons, entire forgotten histories flickered around them. Ethan turned in awe. This is a library. Or a command center. It holds information about old civilizations. Lyra studied the shifting images. Not only information, these maps show locations of lost technology. Devices powerful enough to change the galaxy. A deep voice echoed across the chamber. Not from a machine, not from a speaker, but from everywhere at once. Keyholder detected. Human Prime confirmed. Ethan froze as a holographic figure formed before him. Tall, shimmering, featureless, except for bright lines that formed the same symbol in his chest. Lyra raised her weapon out of instinct. "Identify yourself." The figure ignored her and looked at Ethan. "Starlock Bearer, you have awakened the Archive of Origins. Your presence completes the sequence. The hunters approach. Protection protocols remain inactive. Only the keyholder may activate defense systems." Ethan felt his voice catch. "Keyholder, why me?" "Why me? I do not understand any of this." The hologram flickered. "Understanding is not required. Activation is required. The starlock responds to your will. The galaxy faces collapse. The hunters seek domination. Your choices will decide the outcome. Ethan stepped back in disbelief. I am not a leader. I am not chosen. I am just someone who survived the pillar at the center, intensified its glow. Survival is the first mark of a keyholder. Purpose comes after Lyra placed a hand on Ethan's shoulder. This is bigger than us. But you are not alone. Whatever this station expects, we face it together. Before Ethan could speak, the chamber shook violently. Dust rained from the ceiling. Red lights flashed. The hologram spoke again. Warning, Hunter forces have entered the nebula. They approached the archive. Ethan felt the Starlock burn with new energy. Whatever was waiting in this ancient place had only just begun. The station trembled again as the warning echoed through the ancient chamber. Dust drifted down in soft clouds, while blue lights flickered across old machines coming to life for the first time in ages. Ethan felt the Starlock pulsing harder than ever. Each beat sent a wave of heat across his chest like a rising flame that refused to stay quiet. Lyra moved beside him with focused urgency. The Hunters will not stop now. This place holds too much value. They know the Starlock is here. They know you are here. Ethan swallowed hard. I am not ready to fight anyone. I barely understand what this thing does. You do not need to understand, Lyra said. You only need to respond. The Starlock has instincts. Trust them. Before Ethan could reply, heavy footsteps echoed from the entrance tunnel. Metal clanged against stone as the Hunters forced their way inside. Their armored silhouettes appeared through the smoke. Tall, sharp, silent, their four glowing eyes scanned the chamber with cold precision. Lyra aimed her weapon. Focus, Ethan. Stay behind me. No, Ethan said. I need to be near the core. The hologram said only the keyholder can activate the defense systems. Lyra hesitated, then nodded. Go. I will hold them for as long as I can. Ethan ran toward the central pillar as the Hunters spread through the chamber. Lyra fired pulse shots that filled the room with flashing blue bursts. Energy bolts struck the floor and walls, sending shards across the chamber. Ethan felt the floor shake under every impact. A deep voice boomed across the room. Human, you cannot run from what is inside you. Ethan turned and saw the Hunter leader step forward. His armor was larger and darker than the others. Strange symbols carved into it glowed with violent red light. His eyes burned with hunger. You carry what belongs to the old empire, the leader said. The Starlock must return to the rightful chain of command. Give yourself up, and you will live long enough to witness our victory. Ethan forced himself to stand tall, though fear clawed at him. I do not belong to you. I do not belong to anyone. The leader stepped closer with slow, powerful strides. You do not understand your purpose, human. You were meant to awaken the past. You were meant to open doors that no other species can touch. Ethan shook his head. I was not meant for anything, Aline. I just want to survive then. Surrender, the leader said. Aline took a step back toward the pillar. No, not this time. The Starlock flared with sudden intensity. A bright golden aura wrapped around Ethan like a living shield. The leader stopped in surprise. Lyra shouted from the far end of the chamber. Ethan, the core is responding. Keep going. Ethan touched the pillar again. Instantly, the room lit up. Symbols across the walls glowed with rising energy. The machines hummed as if waking from a long slumber. A deep voice resonated through the entire station. Defense protocols awaiting final command. Keyholder must activate core stabilization. Tell me how. Ethan shouted. I do not know what to do. Place your hand on the central pattern. Channel your will to protect. The Starlock will translate your intent. Ethan pressed his palm against the glowing pattern. A surge of energy shot through his body, his mind filled with rushing visions of ancient worlds. Towers built from crystal. Skies filled with giant machines, people who walked with stars in their hands, all vanished in a great collapse, all destroyed by their own power. Ethan gasped. This is too much. I cannot hold this. Yes, you can, Lyra shouted over the chaos. Because you are human. You endure when others fall, the hunter leader roared and charged toward Ethan. Lyra ran to intercept, but 3 soldiers blocked her path. She fought fiercely, yet the leader advanced unhindered. Ethan felt the Starlock pull energy from the core. Light spread from his chest, through his arms, and into the pillar. The entire chamber brightened until the air shimmered. The hologram appeared once more. Keyholder. Release the pulse, how Ethan asked. Think of protection. Think of the one beside you. Think of the galaxy that will fall if the hunters gain control. Ethan closed his eyes. He thought of Lyra, fighting without fear. He thought of Vesa holding the hunters back in the earlier battle. He thought of Earth, his home, his people who had no idea that danger moved closer every moment. The Starlock answered. A massive shockwave burst from Ethan in a brilliant sphere of light. The energy rippled across the chamber, throwing the hunters backward. Their armor cracked, their weapons melted. Their bodies hit the walls with thunderous force. The leader roared in pain as the wave knocked him off his feet. Sparks erupted across his armor as he struggled to stand. This changes nothing human. The old empire will rise. Ethan stood trembling, but still conscious. No, not through me. The leader collapsed as the shockwave finished, echoing through the chamber. Lyra rushed to Ethan and caught him as he nearly fell. You did it. You actually activated the core. Ethan's voice shook. I felt like the Starlock drained everything from me. It kept you alive, Lyra said softly. And it saved all of us. Before Ethan could answer, a new warning rang through the station. Keyholder, the next vision is ready. The threat extends beyond this nebula. A greater danger rises on the edge of your world. Prepare for war protocol. Ethan felt his breath stop. The next threat was not just coming for him, 'twas coming for Earth. The echo of the warning faded through the ancient station, leaving a heavy silence behind. Ethan stood with Lyra's support as the Starlock slowly dimmed inside his chest. Each pulse grew softer, yet still warm like a fading ember, waiting for its chance to blaze again. Ethan felt exhausted, yet his mind kept racing. Earth, the station had spoken. Of a threat approaching Earth. He looked at Lyra with fear in his eyes. Did you hear that? Something is coming for my world. Something bigger than the hunters. Lyra nodded with a grave expression. The war protocol is part of the old systems. It only activates when the danger is large enough to change the fate of many worlds. If Earth is involved, then the Starlock was awakened for a reason. Ethan tried to take a steady breath. I have to go back. I cannot ignore this. My people are unprepared. They have no idea what is moving in the shadows of the galaxy. Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. And you will not face it alone. The Sisters of the Starwing will stand with you. We did not save you for a simple debt. You became part of our path the moment the Starlock chose you. Ethan gave a weak but honest smile. Thank you. I would not even be alive without you too. Before Lyra could respond, the chamber lights brightened once more. The hologram returned. Its glowing lines pulsed in rhythm with Ethan's heartbeat. Keyholder. The archive has prepared the final message. You must witness the coming threat. Ethan straightened, though his body still trembled. Show me. The hologram raised an arm, and the entire chamber transformed. The walls faded into darkness, and a giant image of the galaxy appeared around them. Stars glimmered in swirling clusters. Nebula clouds stretched like glowing rivers. Ethan reached out in awe, as if he could touch the floating galaxies with his hands. The hologram's voice deepened. The hunters are not the only servants of the old empire. Their masters stir in distant voids. They gather fleets. They rebuild forbidden machines. Their eyes turn toward Earth because the Starlock has awakened in a human once more. Ethan felt a cold knot tighten in his stomach. So they will come for my home because of me. No, the hologram said. They will come because Earth holds a secret even you do not know. A secret tied to the first Starlock bearers, Ethan felt confusion rise again. What secret? What connection does Earth have to ancient empires? The hologram flickered and showed an image of tall beings with bright eyes and symbols carved into their arms. The first ones walked among early humans. They shaped your evolution. They hid knowledge within your species. The ancient empire feared humans because humans adapt faster than any known race. Thus they marked Earth as a target if the Starlock ever awakened again. Ethan stumbled back. I cannot believe this. Humans were shaped by ancient beings. Why would they do that to prepare? The hologram answered. Every bearer is chosen because humanity was designed to endure. You are the next link in a long chain. A chain that now leads to war. Lyra looked at Ethan with steady resolve. Then we act before the enemy moves. We gather strength. We warn your people. We find allies. We do not wait for destruction to arrive at your doorstep. Ethan nodded with new determination. Yes, you are right. I cannot hide anymore. The Starlock will not let me. My world needs to be ready. The hologram dimmed. The war protocol is now your responsibility. Seek the lost beacons. Unite the hidden stations. Only then will Earth stand a chance. Ethan frowned. Hidden stations. How many are there? The hologram gave one final answer. 7. Each holds a piece of the final defense. Without them, the old empire will rise once more. The vision faded and the chamber returned to normal. Ethan felt drained, yet something powerful stirred inside him. Not fear, not confusion. Purpose. Lyra stepped close. We must leave before more hunters arrive. The nebula hides us for now, but not forever. Gather your strength. We return to the Star Wing. Ethan followed her through the glowing halls. As they walked, he touched his chest where the Starlock rested. It no longer felt like an intruder. It felt like a voice whispering direction, a guide waiting for him to choose the next step. When they reached the hangar, Vesa stood by the ship, wiping nebula dust from her armor. You look worse than before, human, but you are still breathing. So that counts as a victory. Ethan managed a tired laugh. Thank you, Vesa. We have a new mission now. And it will take all of us. Vesa grinned with fierce pride. Good. I was getting bored. They boarded the Star Wing and prepared for departure. As the engines ignited, the nebula outside shimmered around them like a curtain of living color. Ethan looked out at the swirling clouds. I will protect Earth, even if the galaxy stands against me, even if the old empire rises. I will not let my people fall. The Starlock pulsed with warm light, answering his vow. The Star Wing turned toward the distant stars. Their journey was no longer about escape. It was the beginning of a war that would reshape the fate of worlds.